I've never met a person who was not successful that didn't have a great amount of self-discipline within their life. Self-discipline and being able to perform and being able to keep your life on schedule and being able to keep commitments and promises and meet deadlines is essential to success. None of us can afford to have a life that is controlled by someone else or a life that is basically controlled by our emotions. I learned many years ago that there are two kinds of people. There's the type of person who says, I'm going to wait till I feel like it before I do it. And then there's a person who says, I've got to do it so that I feel like it. One will never get anything done because they're still waiting to feel the moment to move. And the other person says, no, I need to move, and then I will begin to feel the moment. Sonia, self-discipline is essential in your life and in my life if we're going to get things done.
Motivation is a fragile force. One day it propels you forward like a hurricane. The next, it disappears, leaving you stuck, frustrated, and questioning your path. Everyone experiences this, even the most successful entrepreneurs, athletes, and creators. What separates those who bounce back from those who remain stagnant isn't luck or raw talent, it's knowing how to respond when motivation vanishes. Because the truth is, motivation alone is unreliable. Waiting for it to appear is like waiting for the wind to carry your boat across the ocean. To move forward, you must learn how to act even when you don't feel like it. The first step is acceptance. The moment you notice motivation is gone, don't fight it or beat yourself up. Feeling unmotivated is not a moral failure. It's a signal. Your mind and body are telling you that something needs attention, rest, clarity, direction, or strategy. Most people panic and try to force themselves to work harder, but that often backfires. Recognize that temporary lapses are normal, and instead of resisting, pause and reflect. Acceptance doesn't mean quitting, it means assessing your next step with honesty. Next, identify the root cause of your lost motivation. Motivation doesn't vanish randomly. Often, it fades when your goals aren't aligned with your values, when tasks feel meaningless, when you're exhausted, or when you're overwhelmed by too many options. Ask yourself, am I pursuing this because it matters to me, or because someone told me I should? Am I trying to do too much at once? Am I physically or mentally drained? Pinpointing the cause gives you a clear direction to address the problem rather than blindly pushing forward. Sometimes motivation disappears because the goal itself feels too big or vague. Large, undefined goals can intimidate the mind and trigger avoidance. The solution is to break them down into small, actionable steps. Instead of telling yourself, I need to change my life, start with a tiny, specific action you can complete today. Motivation often returns when you experience progress, no matter how small. Momentum doesn't come from inspiration, it comes from action. Routine is another anchor when motivation fails. Most people rely on feelings to get work done, but feelings are unreliable. Habits, however, are consistent. Build routines that keep you moving even when you feel empty. For example, commit to a fixed time for exercise, planning, or creative work every day. Once a habit is formed, your brain stops debating whether to act, it acts automatically. Motivation becomes a bonus rather than a requirement. Energy management is often overlooked when motivation wanes. You can have the strongest mindset and still fail if your body is depleted. Low energy makes tasks feel insurmountable and motivation almost impossible. Pay attention to sleep, nutrition, and movement. Even a short walk, a glass of water, or a few deep breaths can reignite focus. Treat your body as the engine that powers your ambition. Without fuel, even the best plans stall. Shifting your environment can also reignite motivation. Surroundings influence energy more than most people realize. Clutter, distractions, and negative influences drain willpower. Change your space, even slightly. Open a window, clear your desk, or move to a new location. The brain responds to subtle cues. A fresh environment can spark movement when motivation is absent. Sometimes, you need external accountability to restart your drive. Share your goal with someone you trust, a friend, mentor, or colleague, and commit to reporting progress. External pressure can create a small push that overcomes inertia. Even if you don't feel motivated internally, accountability forces action. Often, taking the first step in front of someone else rebuilds internal momentum. Reflection is another critical tool. When motivation vanishes, pause to examine your why. Ask yourself, why did I start this in the first place? Who am I doing it for? What would happen if I gave up? Revisiting your purpose reconnects you with the emotional core behind your actions. Motivation may not return instantly, but clarity often reignites determination. Sometimes, remembering the bigger picture outweighs the fatigue or doubt of the present moment. It's also crucial to adjust expectations. Perfectionism can crush motivation. When every task feels like it must be flawless, your brain shuts down under pressure. Progress, not perfection, should be the standard. Allow yourself to make mistakes, learn, and iterate. Completing an imperfect step is more powerful than waiting indefinitely for the perfect moment to feel inspired. Action breeds momentum, and momentum breeds motivation. Mental framing can make a significant difference. Instead of asking, "Why don't I feel motivated?" ask, "What can I do despite feeling unmotivated?" This subtle shift moves your focus from feelings to action. Motivation is not the prerequisite for progress. Progress often creates motivation. By acting first, you signal to your brain that you are capable, which reignites energy and drive. Another overlooked strategy is mini goals. Motivation often collapses when the task feels insurmountable. By breaking goals into micro steps, even ones that take only 5 minutes, you reduce resistance. Completing a single micro goal produces a dopamine boost, giving your mind a small taste of success. That small success builds confidence and triggers the chain reaction that restores broader motivation. The role of self-compassion cannot be overstated. Beating yourself up for feeling unmotivated only deepens the slump. Treat yourself with understanding, as you would a friend. Say, "It's okay to feel this way. I can start small. I will move forward." Compassion reduces internal friction and clears mental space for action. Motivation returns faster when the mind isn't battling guilt and shame. Sometimes motivation disappears because creativity is blocked. Routine or repetitive tasks can feel draining. To counter this, inject variety or novelty. Try a new method, approach, or perspective. Change your environment, seek inspiration, or collaborate with someone different. Novelty stimulates the brain, sparks curiosity, and indirectly revives motivation. Rest and recovery are essential. Motivation doesn't exist in a vacuum, it depends on physical and mental energy. Chronic stress, lack of sleep, or continuous output depletes reserves. Give yourself permission to step back, recharge, and return with clarity. Strategic breaks don't equate to laziness. They prevent burnout and allow sustainable performance. Even short periods of rest can reset mental energy and restore motivation. Visualization is another technique. Spend a few minutes imagining yourself completing the task, feeling the satisfaction, and experiencing the benefits. The brain often responds to imagined success as if it were real. Visualization primes emotions and mental readiness, making actual action easier even when motivation is low. By rehearsing success mentally, you increase the likelihood of performing it physically. Sometimes, motivation fails because of comparison. You see others progressing and feel inadequate. Stop looking sideways, focus inward. Your journey is unique. Measure progress against your past self, not someone else's highlight reel. Small improvements accumulate, and over time, you'll realize that consistent action matters far more than fleeting motivation. Accountability tools like timers, to-do lists, or apps can also help. When motivation vanishes, external structure can compensate. The Pomodoro technique, for example, forces short, focused bursts of work, making tasks less daunting. Structure creates momentum when internal drive is weak. Often, just starting is enough to reignite enthusiasm. Celebrate small wins. Motivation often vanishes because achievements feel distant. Acknowledge every completed step, no matter how minor. Recognition of progress fuels the brain's reward system, producing chemicals that naturally restore drive. Each small success reinforces your ability to act even when energy is low. Reconnecting with your why periodically is critical. Motivation often disappears when the purpose is unclear or feels distant. Remind yourself of your long-term vision and values. Re-establishing purpose converts routine or challenging tasks into meaningful action. When your mind sees significance, effort feels worthwhile even without enthusiasm. Lastly, accept that motivation is cyclical. It rises and falls naturally. High performers understand this rhythm. They don't panic when it disappears. They adapt, rely on habits, and take action regardless. They recognize that waiting for motivation is waiting for luck. Success comes to those who move forward even in its absence. The essential lesson is this: motivation is unreliable, but action is consistent. By combining reflection, micro goals, routines, accountability, self-compassion, and purpose, you can act even when you feel empty. Momentum will follow, and with it, renewed motivation. Your ability to move without initial drive separates those who stagnate from those who achieve extraordinary results. In the end, motivation is not the starting point, it's the byproduct of disciplined action. Start small, act intentionally, and honor your journey. Even when nothing seems to work, persistent movement creates opportunity. The day you act despite lacking motivation is the day you reclaim control, rebuild confidence, and set the stage for unstoppable progress. Because success doesn't wait for motivation, it rewards those who show up anyway.